JW Turn G, back in this bitch with another one. Again, much love on the support, the comments, the views, subscriptions, all that shit. Appreciate it. Fuck with your boy. And I threw the VENMO on that bitch, JW Turn G. You feel me? Appreciate y'all. So look, I typed in wives, right? Because I was just thinking, like, when I was in there, I never really thought of shit from, like, a woman's point of view or perspective, right? Or, like, put myself in their shoes. Because, like, they always talk about, like, the woman being in subjection, right? Or, like, we finna do this, like, the head of the woman is a man. Like, it was always shit like that, right? So as a man in the organization, you're always taking the lead. You're always the one bearing the responsibility, the head, right? And so I just never thought about the flip side of that. And now that I'm out, thinking about it and looking at it, that shit's weird as fuck. And it's just more control, and it's just more cult shit. So we finna read this. The head of a woman is the man, and see what the fuck that even means. So we just finna read this first paragraph, and then you know how I do when I just be going down. Damn, who is this? That's Jesus? What the fuck they got going on? Whatever, we finna get into it. Alright, let's see. All Christians come under the perfect headship of Jesus Christ. However, when a Christian woman gets married, she comes under the headship of an imperfect man. That can present a challenge. So when considering a potential marriage mate, she would do well to ask herself, what indication do I have that this brother will be a good family head? Do spiritual activities play an important role in his life? If not, what makes me think that he will be a good spiritual head after we get married? Of course, a sister also does well to ask herself, what qualities will I bring to the marriage? Am I patient and generous? Do I have strong relationship with Jehovah? The level of happiness a wife will experience in her marriage will depend to some extent on the decision she makes before getting married. A religious marriage is the worst shit. The worst shit. A religious marriage. Because, okay, first off, just off of these questions, right? What indications that he'll be a good family head? Do spiritual activities play an important role? What makes me think he'll be a good spiritual head? Like, nobody's doing that, bro. Like, it's based on some weird shit. Like, if you just love this person and you like being around this person and they make you feel good and they make you want to be a better person, cool. But when you're trying to put on this front that you're the spiritual person and you read and you do this and, like, you're marrying somebody based off some fake facts that they presented to you because they wanted to impress you. You're not being yourself. And religious marriages, man, that shit is ass, bro. I'm not saying that they're all gonna fail. Or, like, obviously you got the ones that work, you know. But it's for the wrong reasons, and this shit's weird as fuck. Alright. Millions of our Christian sisters set an excellent example in being submissive to their husband. And see, I don't even really like that term. Right? Like, it's weird to me. Like, I just feel like we both in this. We're both humans, right? Like, I bring as much as you do, right? So, like, you help me, I help you, we help each other. It ain't no submission unless you're trying to get kinky, you feel me? But, like, just in the day-to-day life, like, we just going through this shit. Yeah, that shit's weird. Let me see. Let's see. Marriage is a perfect gift from God, but people are imperfect. Let me say this about marriage, too. Because it's a weird thing that they got going on, right? Like, and people change over time. And that's normal. Like, you might have had a high school sweetheart that you married straight out of high school, and then 10 years go by, and it's like, man, this person's not the same person. Like, they grew up, right? I feel like, personally, marriages should have, like, a contract, a little 10-year contract. You feel me? Or whatever. And then at the end of the contract, depending on how long it is, y'all come together and you say, you know, whether this shit's working out, whether y'all got kids or not, you know, everybody's situation is different. But at the end of the contract, you come together and renegotiate terms to see if y'all are still on the same page and if y'all want to continue to do that. And I'm talking about in this organization, because what happens in this organization, these people get married and that shit becomes stale as fuck. Because like I said, you're trying to put up this spiritual front like you're this person, but you're really not. And it's all to impress this other person, and then that shit ends up crumbling. And then you look up 5, 10, 15 years later, and you're like, fuck, man, I'm still with that, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I'm still married. Like, this nigga's still married to me. You know what I mean? All right, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and just get back to this. I don't even know where I was at. Why choose to be in subjection? Yeah, why? A Christian wife chooses to be in subjection to her husband because that is what Jehovah asks of her. I don't even like that shit. That's so fucking weird. That's so weird. A Christian wife. Like, this just be my wife. No, a Christian, that just puts a weird spin to it. A Christian wife chooses to be in subjection to her husband because that is what Jehovah asks of her. She trusts her heavenly Father, knowing that he is always motivated by love and only asks her to do something if it is in her best interest. Didn't we just read in some of the other videos articles where niggas went to prison, where niggas got beat? But then it says here, he's always motivated by love and only asks her to do something if it's in her best interest. So when them niggas is getting beat in military prisons, is that out of love? And is that in their best interest? And that's what I mean by there's so many inconsistencies with this version of God that they paint. It's just too many inconsistencies for it to be God, right? If it's a human, you know, whatever, because they probably don't give a fuck, so inconsistencies probably all day. But God has to be held at a different standard. So for the results to be the same, that just doesn't make any sense. The world encourages women to ignore Jehovah's standards and to view subjection as demanding. Of course, those who promote such ideas do not know our loving God. Jehovah would never give his precious daughters a command that would demean them. A sister who works hard at fulfilling the role Jehovah has assigned her promotes peace in her household. Her husband benefits, she benefits, and the children benefit. It sounds like they got some control, right? A wife who is submissive to her imperfect husband proves that she loves and respects Jehovah, the one who established headship. I know that my husband will make mistakes, says Carol, who lives in South America. I also know that the way I respond to those mistakes reveal how much I value my headship with Jehovah. So I try to remain submissive because I want to please my Heavenly Father. Come on, dog. That's not a sentence that a normal person would say. I try to remain submissive because I want to please my Heavenly Father. What are you saying, Carol? What are you talking about? Just love your husband, right? Just be his best friend. It can be a challenge for a wife to be respectful and submissive if she feels that her husband does not take her feelings and concerns into account. But note how a married sister named Anise responds when that happens. She says, I try not to become resentful. I remember that all of us make mistakes. My goal is to forgive freely as Jehovah does. When I do forgive, I regain my peace of mind. A wife who is forgiving is likely to find it easier to be submissive. That right there, yo, like I said, this is the reason why so much shit happens and gets covered up. Imagine you got a husband. That shit sounds terrible, first off. But imagine you got a husband, right? And y'all got the mindset that a wife who is forgiving is likely to find it easier to be submissive. That motherfucker is going to take that sentence and run all over it. Again, I'm not saying that this is 100%, this is everybody. But this is why fucked up shit happens in these religious organizations and gets covered up. What we got? What can we learn from examples recorded in the Bible? Some may feel that a submissive person is weak, but that view is far from the truth. The Bible contains many examples of submissive individuals who had great strength of character. Consider what we can learn from Jesus, Abigail, and Mary. Oh my God. What wives can learn? What is this picture? Hold on. What can capable wives learn from Jesus' subjection to Jehovah? Wow, okay. You know what? Let's read it. Fuck it. Jesus is subject to Jehovah, but certainly not because he lacks intelligence or skill. Only a highly intelligent person could teach as simply and clearly as Jesus did. Jehovah respected Jesus' ability so much that he allowed Jesus to work beside him when Jehovah created the universe. Who fucking knows that, bro? Who knows that? They talking about this shit like it's a fact. They got this shit in black and white as a statement. And I'm gonna read it again. Jehovah respected Jesus' ability so much that he allowed Jesus to work beside him when Jehovah created the universe. Who would have that information? Who would have means to get that information? And they got people's lives based on this. Since Jesus' resurrection, Jehovah has entrusted him with all authority in heaven and on earth. Even though Jesus is talented, he still looks to Jehovah for guidance. Why? Because he loves his Father. Oh, yeah. What wives can learn? Despite his accomplishments, Jesus did not feel that it is demeaning to subject himself to Jehovah's headship. Likewise, a capable woman who followed Jesus' example will not feel diminished by submitting to her husband. She will support her husband not only because she loves him, but primarily because she loves and respects Jehovah. So, if you were in charge of a large group of people, and you wanted to establish control over this group, this is probably something that you would instill in them, right? So now you got all the wives, you know that they're going to be in submission to their husbands, so okay, whatever I'm teaching the husbands then, because they're in submission to Jesus, and Jesus is in submission to Jehovah, so it just trickles down the line. So everybody's just going to fall in line when it comes to the control. Where's the personal relationship with God in that? You just following whatever they write in black and white on here. You're just listening to what they're telling you. This has nothing to do with a personal relationship with God. What the fuck is this? After sending food to David and his men, Abigail approached David. Then she bows down to the ground and urges him not to bring blood guilt on himself by taking revenge. And then they got her bowing to him like, bro, chill, bro. What are you doing? I'm going to read that. Abigail had a husband named Nabal. He was a selfish, proud, and ungrateful man. Even so, Abigail did not take the easy way out of her marriage. And see, that's what I mean. It sentences like the one that we read before, right? I'm going to find it again. A wife who is forgiving is likely to find it easier to be submissive. That sentence lets husbands run all over, do whatever the fuck they want, and the wife is just going to fall in line. This nigga was selfish, proud, and ungrateful. Oh, but yet, she didn't take the easy way out. Like, nigga, get your act together. You're a grown-ass man. Why are you acting like that? But it lets him off the hook. She could have kept quiet and allowed David and his men to kill her husband. Instead, she took practical steps to protect Nabal along with their large household. Imagine the courage it took for Abigail to approach 400 armed men and respectfully reason with David. She was even willing to take the blame for her husband's action. Okay. And like I said, they got this shit in here like it's fact, like it's history. Like this warrior a wife walked up to this warrior and he was like, oh, yeah, okay, I got you. You're bound down. I'll spare him. Nigga, what? David readily acknowledged that Jehovah had used a strong woman to give him needed advice that prevented him from committing a serious mistake. Sure. Man. What is this? A submissive Christian wife, however, will not support her husband if he asks her to violate Bible laws or principles. Suppose, for example, that a sister's unbelieving mate tells her to lie, to steal, or to engage in some other unscriptural conduct. All Christians, including married sisters, owe their first allegiance to Jehovah. If a sister is asked to violate Bible principles, she should refuse, explaining in a kind, firm way she cannot do what he is asking. Are we talking about married people or kids? What the fuck? What? Suppose, for example, that a sister's unbelieving mate tells her to lie, steal, or engage in some unscriptural conduct. Like, nigga, what? Get the fuck out of here with that little petty bullshit. We talking about niggas in marriages taking advantage of their wives because they're quote-unquote in submission. Because they're being submissive. Like I said, if y'all watch some of the other videos, the only way that you can divorce in the organization is if somebody dies, right? So then you're free to marry. Or if they cheat on you and it's found out by everybody. But if you're getting physically abused, emotionally abused, whatever, they can't leave. Let's read, man, fuck it, let's just read these. We're gonna finish this, we're gonna read all this. Mary had a close personal relationship with Jehovah. She actually knew the scriptures well. In a conversation with Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, Mary made more than 20 references to the Hebrew scriptures. In a conversation with Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, Mary made more than 20 references to the Hebrew scriptures. So they had a camera crew that just recorded everything they said and did, or somebody was just constantly taking notes, and they know that? Who knows that? And consider this fact. Even though Mary was engaged to Joseph, Jehovah's angel did not initially appear to him. The angel first spoke directly to Mary and announced that she would give birth to the Son of God. Jehovah knew Mary well and was confident that she would love and care for his son. Jehovah knew Mary well and was confident that she would love and care for his son. Who would know that? Who would have access to that information? Mary undoubtedly continued to have a good relationship with Jehovah even after Jesus died and was raised to heaven. And then just put yourself in Joseph's shoes right here, right? She was engaged to Joseph, okay? But Jehovah's angel did not initially appear to him. So the angel first spoke to Mary and announced that she would give birth to the Son of God, okay? So you're Joseph. You're at home chilling, whatever. And then Mary comes home and she's like, yo, I'm pregnant, but an angel got me pregnant. What? What? You're having a baby? What? Like, nigga, man. Anyway, that's beyond the point. A wise husband is happy when his wife knows the scriptures well. He does not feel intimidated or threatened by his wife. Why would that, where did that work? What? He realizes that a sister with sound knowledge of the Bible and Bible principles can be a real asset to her family. Of course, even if the wife is better educated than her husband, it is his responsibility to take the lead in family worship and in other theocratic activities. See, and that's what I mean. Like, it's his responsibility to take the lead, even if the wife is better educated than the husband. So just do what works for y'all. You know what I mean? Just do what works for you. You in your house behind closed doors. Do you. A woman must be submissive to her husband, but she is still responsible for her own spiritual health. To that end, she must allocate some time for her own personal study and meditation. That will help her to maintain her love and respect for Jehovah and find joy in being submissive to her husband. So that's not an option. They're telling you. Wives who remain subject to their husband out of love for Jehovah will find more joy and contentment than those who reject Jehovah's headship arrangement. They set a good example for both young men and young women, and they help to create a warm atmosphere not only in the family but also in the congregation. Today, women make up a large part of those who are loyally serving Jehovah. All of us, whether male or female, have an important role to play in the congregation. God damn, nigga, shit. Oh, man. Shout out to the wives, man. Shout out to the women. In my LeBron voice, happy International Women's Day. First off, happy International Women's Day. JW turn G.